Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys GlobalClan Fire versus Witness Gaming. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 13, Stage 1, Round 7, and we still have a couple heavy hitters left to go in terms of matches before we reach the final halfway point of the season where you can tally up everyone's progress so far and see who's looking to snag each seed as the season progresses. Both these teams done a pretty decent job so far this season. You know, they've only had one loss to each of their names, but that's going to be changing by the end of tonight, as only one of these two teams will be victorious here tonight on Process.
Indeed, excited to see some Process and GlobalClan Fire and Witness Gaming coming out to get casted again. I believe we've seen both of these teams already, but already back in the swing of things, and both teams have pretty good records so far, so this should be a pretty good match. I'm expecting a close game, definitely. And I guess before we get into it too much, maybe cover the rosters.
Yep, it's important to go over the rosters, make sure anyone who's been a little late on the scene gets an idea of who's been playing what, especially since I'm pretty sure the Witness Gaming roster has changed the roster maybe 3 times over the course of the past month and a half or so. So I'll go over the Witness Gaming roster. For now, it is Logan and Gwen on Scout, Fruit and Quacks on Soldier, Cap on Demo, and Dank on Medic.
And for GlobalClan Fire, we have KJ Quad, aka Ed, on Scout, Fancy Sun on Scout, Saxophone and Wonder on Soldier, Averted on Demoman, and Divine on Medic.
At this point, a lot of familiar names. I think most of these players, maybe not most, considering, actually you just look at the side of Witness Gaming, you have names like Logan, Caps, and Dank, but overall, the other 9 still have a lot to prove, I think, in terms of proving that they have what it takes to be like a grand finalist level player, and this could be the season where that could happen. They could turn their dreams into reality, but for that to happen, you gotta, of course, make playoffs, make sure you get a nice seed, and get everything done that you need to take care of to make sure that you're in a good spot. Tonight, we're not going to be going too crazy in terms of practicing maps that aren't the pug staples. Make sure you're refined on it as a team. We're here on good old classic Process, so no real surprises there. I think we'll be expecting when it comes to the gameplay aspect of thing. But it's always nice to see everyone's take on how they decide they want to play it. Super passive, super aggressive, off classes or lack thereof, and for both these teams. You kind of do some digging a bit, and you look back in some of the logs, and the amount that they've barely played versus each other, and I think this could end up being a pretty good series.
Definitely could be a pretty good series, but it's Process, so a lot of it comes down to the fine details, whether they got everything under control, because Process can be kind of brutal in terms of getting, some big swings from the jaws of victory to the clutches or defeat, one of the ways. However the phrase goes. Like, definitely you can get steamrolled if you're not careful in terms of things are looking pretty good and then suddenly you're back when you're on last and sad. But at least the last on this point can be pretty tough to push, and especially with the new kind of 4-minute round timer, we could definitely see some resets this game.
Yeah, in terms of gameplay, I feel like mids is going to be the most important thing, because I have a feeling that no matter which team it is, I think we are going to see some struggles to break into Process last.
I never expect anything different.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if it's like, oh, we had Adam, we screwed up, and we weren't able to cap or whatever, but, breaking into Process last stalemates, I think there's a lot of, slight variations in ways that teams can try to, emphasize holding different doors, and it's going to take, a bit of time to actually figure out, is it 5 that's the door that's a bit weak? Is it 1 and 2? Should we bother doing this sniper play, or should we just keep doing 2-mans? Everyone's got their own little flavor to things, but it's it takes some time to figure out what the best path to victory is going to be, but you don't really have that much time. Alongside playstyle as well, if you're a team that has a little bit of a slower playstyle and making sure you be careful and figure things out, you're going to see that clock burn really fast. So if you're confident in your mids, I'm sure a team wouldn't it wouldn't care to it's fine to go ahead and do a mid reset, but on both these teams, I don't know if either of these teams is not going to be confident about their mids until they actually start losing them. So it's going to be a bit of a treat to see who's going to come out on top the first couple. If we actually see a couple of mids, when we get into the predictions, I don't think it's going to be a game that goes all the way to 5. But
yeah, definitely some powerhouses in the server, especially on the key classes on product, which is I'd say definitely considering it's Scout Haven. Nice to see some really powerful Scout players in the server like Ed, aka KJ Quad, or Gwendolyn. I think the demo matchup is also going to be pretty interesting, in my opinion. Caps versus Averted. that should be pretty good. I feel like I mentioned this every process cast we do, but it's one of the better maps for medics actually like having a huge game impact and just surfing and keeping themselves alive. And I always am usually impressed with Dank's gameplay, so I think that could be a little bit of an advantage for Witness Gaming as well.
We've had the maps on the screen for a bit now, but as you can see, it's you know, I think it's pretty well, I guess it's not. It wasn't crazy in terms of totally streamlined. Both teams took a stab at taking out one of the Koths. Both teams are totally fine getting like they both collectively wanted to get rid of the Scout Prison maps.
Yeah, they get
so.
Yeah, Granary, Metalworks.
It makes sense you would process because both these teams are kind of in the same boat on what they like and what they dislike. So it really comes down to the fine-tuned things about a map in particular. And process is pretty fine-tuned, although like we keep saying that you know, there's specific things you have to keep in mind. I think one of the big things that's going to be tonight is it's going to be less about the map and it's going to be less about the team like that you're playing as well, because these teams, I think. If I try to count on the amount, like with fingers, how many times these two teams have played each other for this season, I won't run out of fingers. I will only need one hand. And if I really want to, like, what about this version of Witness Gaming that has like Logan and Cap on it? What about this version? I think it's like once, like a 1-1 stalemate Sunshine game. So
they're not super familiar.
No, so it's gonna come down to like, what do you know about this player and how they like to play, and how do you think that's going to incorporate into their team's play style? And I think that's going to be a big thing.
There's definitely some players that are like familiar with each other, but maybe not necessarily in the same classes, or team environments can change how people play in certain circumstances, and sometimes people play differently in actual games than they do in pugs. So I think everyone deserves familiar with each other, but definitely when it comes down to like process in an actual match, things you can't expect to learn a thing or two by just how the other player is playing. And when we mentioned the stamemates on last, I just had this mental image of like the gun sitting on the point and just like the time ticking down, and it takes like a minute and a half to spam the gun down, and by that point you're almost halfway done with your time to push last.
Yeah, but that's
just my mental image.
The first thing is you have to find where the gun is, because if it's centralized on the point, you can spam through 5, but if it's more to the left, then you need to go through like 1 and 2, kind of, because you're not going to be able to see it through 5. Like, that in itself will take time off, and then you might accidentally lose someone that you won't even get to a chance to sack, and then while you're waiting for your guy to respawn, then the gun will get moved, and now it's in a new spot, and it's a pain. I think the biggest proponents of that are the engineers that are willing to, or they see the opportunities to pick up their gun and move it slightly, and all of a sudden all your plans about like, oh, well, we'll just 1-through-1 because the gun won't be able to see us because it's too far away, and then it's all of a sudden it can the next time you try. But we'll see how the team's resident engineer players go about that, and see if that ends up being a big factor in things at all. I think it's about time to go ahead and talk about the actual scores and what we think is going to be happening in space. I think we're before we get into it, we are running low on time before the game begins. We do need to go ahead and do a quick plug of the merch that we have available.
Yeah, we do have some merch. We got some nice t-shirts. We also do have some team merch. Buy the shirts and support the team. I don't believe we have one for Witness Gaming, but we do have one for GlobalClan. So if you're a GlobalClan fan, make sure to check out the team merch.
And it'll be there for a bit, so you got a little bit of time, but make sure you get it if you're interested before time runs out. Back to what we have at hand, though. I think we're probably under 30 seconds. I'm hearing the Discord pings or the Mumble pings, and I'm assuming it's under 30 seconds till live or so.
45.
Quick
you got time.
Okay, quick preds. What do you think is going to be happening here in terms of
I
the score?
don't think we're going to 5.
I don't think so either.
I'm gonna say, honestly, I feel like this is kind of a coin flip right now. I'm not sure which one off the top of my head, but I think if I look at the rosters, there's more like super high invite players. Maybe they're not like Caps isn't on Scout, for instance, but there is still, well, he is in the pregame. But regardless, I think I'm leaning toward Witness Gaming, but I definitely think GlobalClan could pull the upset.
I think both these teams are going to be pretty average at breaking stalemates. It's going to chew off a lot of time. I think mids are going to be super important. and I think GlobalClan Fire might have a bit of an edge in the mid fights. They might be a bit more versatile, so I actually say a 2-1 game in favor of GlobalClan, but we'll see. Like you said, it's pretty much a coin flip. Anything can really happen. One thing can make or break the entire game, but here we have both teams arriving to mid, both Domen waiting for their arrows. I think Cap's going to be getting his a bit late, but is fine. You actually see one of the scouts from GlobalClan Fire and Ed waiting in IT for a little bit of a push or finding an opportunity to go ahead, but you see some aggression, more high ground control slightly from the side of GlobalClan Fire, a couple weak projectile classes on the side, both some fakes.
Oh, her GlobalClan soldiers, or witness soldiers, I mean, there's some witness soldiers that are pretty much out of the fight. Quack's gonna get a pack, and a lot of Red Scouts on the high ground, they're both trying to get to him. Jason, Red is slowly taking space on this mid. Blue team is kind of backed up into their own sewer, and they're gonna leave that mid, so no kills or unmid. Actually, they're gonna go for the refight. They got their health, they're ready, and looks like there are some hurt players on Red, so a nice, like, backup, and Sax is gonna be the first kill.
Yeah, a bit alone. Yeah, it's not Caps out alone too, but they were unable to pressure him properly. And that was really good from the side of Witness Gaming, recognizing that, you know, even though they were beginning to lose the mid, there was nothing that said that they couldn't just walk back in. I think they saw the amount of cap time that was shown on the on their HUD, and it's like, wait, they don't have like tons of high ground control. They think they just won. They're standing on the low ground, just walk back in, and they do so without expending very much at all, just a little bit of HP to get the cap their way, and now they're already poking into the next point. Dank, a bit weak, as unable to heal people that are peeking Al-Qaeda, so they're going to get weak as well, has to go back for a pack, and GlobalClan 5, even though they've lost the mid, they're still holding on to 2 pretty strong. It's going to take a bit for Witness Gaming to go ahead and get their player that died during mid, reset, buff up, and go ahead for a real sack wave here, but things have finally died down. They've disengaged back to mid, and we'll see the route they take to see if they can get Divine's Uber out of his hands.
Yeah, we do have some nice little spamming from Sewer and from Choke. Getting some very aggressive, actually, and this is going to be Quack's going to go for pick off, but it's going to be a nice little headshot rocket. But they're going to get Sax off of that, so Sax falling again means that there's going to be a soldier down for this, and there's a couple, the spam is taking its toll on GlobalClan. They're kind of having to play a bit more passive, and the ball's in this gaming's court to see what they can do. Quack's going to go for another jump again, and they're just taking space, and finally, we're going to see a massive bomb. They're taking a lot of space, but the damage is there in the collapse. They're all dying.
Three left alive. Yeah, they gotta run away. They still have the Uber, but Wonder is behind them, trying to cut them off, or at least slow them down. Going for the bomb himself, misses the air shot onto Dank. Still alive for now.
But he's so hurt.
He almost misses it, but he does indeed get forced. 30 HP has to pop. They're trying to chase down Divine. One soldier in. Doesn't seem like enough of a threat for Divine to actually use, seeing as Gwendolyn is so far away. Almost gets spammed down to death, but Sax doesn't have enough tank to take that kill down. So overall, successful play from GlobalClan Fire, actually recognizing that so far in the first, 3 minutes of the game, Dank it's the Dank staple. He is pretty safe. He's relatively passive, not in a bad way, but enough to where there's a lot of people that are getting really aggressive that aren't able to get healed. So all the people that tried to push from the side of Witness Gaming over onto 2 just got killed, wiped, and now they're all the way back on their own 2, barely getting respawns. GlobalClan Fire have taken so much room, Wonder bombing in to stuff him out of the shuttle, but it's Caps that's going to die to Sax inside Rolla, and the chase is on. Fancies and wants to get this kill in 3. He won't be so successful, but this Uber is still in favor of GlobalClan Fire.
And no demo means that they're going to take as much space as they can. They're going to have to use just off the gun shooting the scout, but they're going to take a lot of space, and this might be a pretty nice Uber, and there's a nice little air shot onto Quack, so they're just going to get the point. No demo then means no stickies on the point, no traps anywhere. And that was a pretty good first round from GCF. They started off on the back foot, but both teams really didn't want to commit to anything until GCF finally saw that opportunity to get in and really get something, and they just rolled it straight from their second to last.
Yeah, and what are you going to do when you have a demo man dead, 1 soldier getting air shot, and 2 enemy scouts on the point? That's a round done deal right there. But new mid, new you, as both these teams have arrived. I think Averted messed up one of his jumps in his rollout, but the blue soldier isn't going fast, so you're not really going to see any dome man punishment there. So normal mid for now. Dank a bit more aggressive this time, but is actually taking a decent amount of damage, so we'll see what the targeting is. But bombs coming in.
Quax is committing.
They're actually going outside of Sax, so overall 1-for-1 trade. Scout fight over on the side near the blue crates as Logan getting a bit weak, but is healed up. Height control. Actually, a little bit. It's still in GlobalClan Fire favor. Witness Gaming is trying this time.
Red has the high
getting
ground.
on top of things. But Logan is so far forward. They don't get too much damage on able to slip away.
Ooh, air
time
shot.
is going to Witness Gaming's favor. Air shot. Quacks blasted back. Needs an arrow, but Sang to be set for Wonder. Ed lives on 1 HP. Eats the sticky Cap, able to secure that kill. And the soldiers are unleashed now. They're chasing in a choke. The Cap is actually jumping in as well, trying to get some extra damage. really weak
Yes,
though. Eats
the
that
drift.
base rocket down to 32 HP, but has enough to survive, and the final kill in the Ed will be the nail in the coffin. Once again, another mid where GlobalClan Fire, honestly, they started to win it in the beginning, but things slowly slipped, and this time much quicker is Winnis Gaming. They have the pick still. Once again, they're poking through Al-Qaeda, damage onto Quacks.
Good trap kill for
Trap kill
Logan.
onto Logan. One of their soldiers almost lives expended, but they still have sewer locked down from the side of Witness Gaming, so overall that's their quote-unquote sack. Backup reset time. GlobalClan Fire maybe looking to counter. Sax is getting buffed up. He might go for it.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough to sack into. Even Dennis down there, that is gonna be a nice bomb. Not able to quite get the pack, but a lot of damage done. But Ed's gonna fall as well. So that's I don't know if that's the intentional 2-man, but they did end up getting it. So that's gonna be 2 down for the side of GCF, trying to hold second here. And it looks like that Witness Gaming, they're not gonna immediately sack. They're just gonna try to slow push this again, like last time. Just hopefully more successfully. The Divine's gonna eat a bit of damage, so he's gonna have to play careful. As they're gonna get Logan again, and Wonder's gonna get the pack in IT, and that's gonna just signal it. They're gonna lose Logan. They're gonna back up. They want to play this slow and safely. And meanwhile, dang,
I'm pretty sure a damage sword came from somewhere else as well.
Yeah, it was a sticky or pipe from Choke. I saw the demo shooting from Choke, and that was just unfortunate. That was one of those 150 to 0 moments.
Too.
Yeah.
The classic, like, it's so frame perfect that you don't even actually get the assist. That's how in tune. Dank had no chance there, but whereas the Witness Gaming do have a chance to escape, they will indeed get out their lives conceding at the midpoint. There's still some traps over on too, but no detonation. Cap's not going to be able to get the kills there, but they do have a sniper. Yeah, Logan is sniping inside rollout. He's hiding a bit. I think he will eventually be seen.
Yeah,
definitely he's seen now by the side of Wonder, who's jumping in and making space for his team.
But he's denying a lot of space, and he has an angle right on them. There's going to be a nice bomb, though, and so much damage from Sax, but he needs the help, and they get forced meanwhile. Sax is going to live, but the damage isn't going to be able to, it's not going to matter in the end. It's they're just going to back up less to get healthy. So we are going to settle into our first real leapfrog situation here, which can be tricky, especially putting out a process last. It's very easy to mess up those leapfroggers if you're not careful.
Both teams probably kind of whatever about the situation. Fruit's already up, Wonder's up, it's just normal leapfrog for that 1-for-1 trade, but they're peeking one like they want to be spicy about things, but the trap, not dead, he's being greedy about it. He wants Dank. Dank is like, hey,
they haven't checked it. I don't think they don't know.
Here, friends? He just pops through. He doesn't want to risk it. They're close enough where they're going for the play where they get the people that aren't the medic and just try to get the first people in, but it's biting them. Both soldiers down. Averted dropped to 9 HP before he got healed up, so there's almost all the projectile classes down on the board in the grave, and Witness Gaming, though, they don't want to cap and still going forward. Be mindful, those Sax will get forwards. They're not locking it down. He could bust out from an awkward angle, but no, Caps at the last second is able to knock him down, gets him back spawn, and he's back up with a normal positioning with his team. They're getting some cap in here. They know this Uber is eventually coming, and Divine's trying to hold out until they actually get it. They know that this could be really advantageous for the side of GlobalClan Fire. Scouts on top of the high ground, they recognize it. They're backing up, but GlobalClan Fire, they want to keep pushing. They know that this ad isn't going to be here for too long, or they don't need a cap. They're just at choke. They want a double sticky.
Oh, they're double sticky. He's so deep.
The enemy team.
Oh,
he's on top of them. Gets one. Looking for more.
Gets flashed.
It's 3 dead. They have nuked them almost out of the server entirely, and Quacks is stuck behind in IT. Micah, he is spotted by one of the scouts. He is certainly
they have to get
going
the cap
to
time, though.
die.
They did get a lot of the kills, but they're so aggressive. No one's actually capping the point. Ed's finally gonna, wander his way over to the point, but it's gonna be a little late. There is gonna be a small opportunity here for Blue to get out of the spawn camp, but definitely that was a high risk, high reward play from GCF as Blue trying to get their way out of the spawn, but Wonder is gonna force that over very easily.
The headshot on Divine, though, Logan might have clutched this. Sure, they expelled the Uber. They've got a bunch of kills, but they need to make sure they get even more because they still have all the fragging classes.
Oh, the cap time! They got it!
They got knocked off of it. Averted stands on top of it as they aren't able to stack properly. I mean, it's tough because on one hand, you want to block the point, but on the other hand, you can't just have like all 4 people stand on at the same time, right? That's a Demo Man and Soldier's wet dream, but as they try to trickle one on top of another to make sure that they take turns guarding it, they aren't able to do it in time as Averted just lands on top of it, secures a second round, and GlobalClan Fire are up 2-0 in this game.
They are up 2-0, not a textbook last push, but good enough to work, and a little bit sketched, a little bit scuffed, I would say, but sometimes playing a little more scuffed and a little more free and loose does actually end up favoring you. But we're gonna see Sax taking the enemy IT, and Logan's gonna fall immediately, and this is already kind of a bit of a wash. I see Ed is behind them, and he's gonna die, but at what cost is Blue is almost all dead.
3 left alive for the side of Witness, and make that 2 as Quacks is unable to get out through his own choke. As GlobalClan Fire, they've given up some people to get these kills, so unable to really chase that effectively, so the rest of Witness Gaming in the form of Dank and Gwen will indeed be able to escape. But GlobalClan Fire, they have second locked down. I don't think there's going to be too much happening here from the side of Witness. They might poke a little bit to see if there's some openings.
They're clearing the sticks.
Sax is actually pretty deep
Oh,
behind
no,
them.
Sax.
And Reed is going to punish them. Unable to walk over the doors from
96.
enough players being alive, and Sax is able to go forward and get 2 kills. Dank dying, like you said, at 96%.
I saw where Sax was, and I could just see the dopamine hit it. Like, I could just see the dopamine. That was insane. I don't know. Was he just uncalled through second? I didn't even see what happened.
They still had 2 down. They had like their entire team in 1. Like they wanted to bust out and team fight the rep, because there was only 4 people lived from the mid fight, and 1 was capping mid. So like, hey, there's 3 people on 2. Let's go 4v3 them and fight. But they didn't split up the doors, so Sax is unspotted and just gets the 2 kills.
Oh, Ed Sniper, speaking of which, and Ed's gonna get
Dank.
Dank. That was this. Even the offensive sniper on second is powerful just because the sightlines are so long. You can stand so far away and just see basically into any player, which can be super punishing, as you can see there. Witness Gaming on the back foot here, and they're going to use it, but they're going to be down a medic and a demo. Logan's going to fall immediately, just getting off of Engineer. There's going to be a lot of kills as they're going to try to desperately try to fight this, but that's going to be a quick 3-0 for the side of GCF. Witness Gaming got to get back to the drawing board and win a mid, get something, because right now GCF is what we thought was a close game. They're just running away with it.
Yeah, I mean, when it's the remnants of a last, so when you only have 4 alive, I mean, you don't expect it to go well, but that was, like, GlobalClan Fire just locked them down completely, and with, like you said, it's 3-0, it's turning into a more dominant showing from the side of GCF, so Witness Gaming, they really got to change things up and figure something out. Maybe take attack if you need it, or at least get the mids going in your favor so you can make sure that you're not just, like, barely poking into 2, maybe just take 2 after the mid, you know, really got to make sure that you change we need to, but I think it's going to come down to maybe the high ground control. They are a bit more aggressive this time from the side of Witness Gaming, but only slightly. If you have Fruit hiding inside of IT, they push across their own pack, trying to launch forward. They're able to get Divine. They need to make sure they keep their own team alive, though, as the rest of them backing up into choke. Able to get stacks, so I'm going to put that on the chase. A lot of red players from the side of GCF is Witness Gaming. They're weak themselves, but they've actually lost no one so far. Quack's the lowest at 8 HP. Bomb comes in from the side of Wonder, same from Averted. Right after, able to get capped, but not quite enough to be able to kill Dank. Only 1 left alive in the side of KJ Quad. He's in their opposing sewer, and they indeed know. They actually want to hunt him down. They're leaving 1 on the cap. They're trying to make sure they get this kill ASAP, and they are able to indeed secure it. So overall, team wipe in favor of Witness Gaming.
Poor Ed was looking around, and every single door he looked at, there was just more players. They just kept coming around the corners and out of the walls. It was terrifying.
No escape.
Yeah, no escape indeed for our good friend KJ Quad. But Witness Gaming, happy to finally, not be on their side of the map, and gonna try to, maybe slow the game down or see what they can do to get back in this. It's gonna be a bit of a hill of a climb, but not the end of the world, especially with the infinite overtime. As Ed's gonna go back up on that Trust Shield Sniper. Last time we saw him on Sniper, he did get that nice little mid pick. And Sax gonna be early opening means that, that's not even gonna get an opportunity to beat.
Yeah, I mean, this was barely a second hold. They had an engineer on last, they had sniper rolling out, so they just go through it. They're able to kill stacks before they even use the Uber, which is finally now, as a last push, they're really not going for cap time, just trying to get as much kills as they can. Tons of damage, able to find to kill Ed and Wonder over in the nest area, given a couple of lives, but finally, have the stickies cleared. Quacks on the chase, wants to kill Divine, make sure this Uber doesn't come into equation, is indeed scattered down by the side of Logan, dying at 88%, so only 2 left alive, a respawn Sax and Avert, who's lived throughout it all. Sax standing tall on top of the point, Logan a bit weak, the same could be said for Gwen, but it is not enough. They're just clearing these stickies off. They got 2 respawners, but it's barely enough, and not quite at the end of the day. As Witness Gaming slowly bringing things back, surely 3-1 still, though, in favor of GlobalClan Fire.
Yeah, that last fight, it was giving me a little pause at the end when the soldiers came up, but they did that really slowly and methodically. Got the kills, then, they kind of just ignored Averted and Spawn and just let him, carpet the point and just decided to kill all the players actually playing the game, which ended up working in the end in their favor. So, Witness Gaming back in the swing of things with a round on the board. So, 1-3 for the side of Witness Gaming. Still got to get 2 more to tie it up as we're going to approach our 4th mid, or 5th mid.
Yeah, looking a little bit weak for the side of Witness until Sax spawns in and immediately gets melted. Oh my god, that immediately changed things. Both sorters from the side of GlobalClan Fire just dead off the bat.
Ed's in.
Is able to get Fancy Son, but Ed in, unable to get the frag. Gets a couple players weak from the side of Witness Gaming over on the back line near their sewer, but not quite enough. I was I was a bit worried in the beginning there for Witness Gaming because Caps was perpetually low, unable to really do too much, and I was afraid about their health and the longevity of things. But that bomb from the GlobalClan Fire Soldiers, they got melted. I don't even. There might have even been an air shot, like barely. I'm not quite sure, but all I know is before they even had time to land on the ground, they were basically almost dead.
Oh my God! The trap! No! The trap! Dead! No! They were just. Oh, I just saw something horrible. The traps, that was a potential 3K. Missed opportunities. Probably doesn't even know, but, you know, if they go back in the demo, I'm sure they'll be sad. Regardless, yeah. Logan peeking into last and looks like the gun and, you know, Pupus, etc. is going to be set up on last. Quacks in a nice little headshot, then body shot from Ed. So Ed doing some nice work on Sniper, at least early on in this game. Wonder gonna fall to a counter sticky trap from the other side. And that's going to be just, I guess, both sacks for now. Just singles.
Mm-hmm. So 1-for-1 overall, but you really got to make sure that you abuse the fact that you can try to spam this gun while there's a soldier on the red team. Fruit very much in to the side of 2, recognizes the gun is too far to the left to really punish him, so is going to escape plan away at 3 HP.
Yeah, is going to be able to escape away, but Zach's not going to be able to escape that one on the high ground, just going to get kind of melted down by the team. Some nice spam there from Wonder, doing good job in 5, but there's a lot of doors to keep track of now. Well, that's spamming class, but they're going to lose Caps. So the even Deadwood spamming class turns with the spam classes on process last just a little too strong as Witness Gaming back on second. 2 minutes 30 left in the round.
They were focusing so much on trying to spam through 3, they didn't even bother to look through 4. They just walk in and get those 2 free frags, and with one of them being a demo, it makes sense why they're just walking through 1. Look at Averted, he's not afraid. I mean, Fruits and IT, I'm not sure if they quite know. They have a double bomb coming in. Divine popping into the air, penciled. It does indeed have to pop that drop to 8 HP, but yeah, 2 soldiers, I mean, maybe a bit mixed.
They get Gwendolyn. That's another scout down, and Wonder's coming in from IT. I don't know if they're not up. Logan is gonna be on it. Logan's gonna go for the nice dank, nice surf, just air shot, and that's gonna be. They have a lot of space, but Ed's gonna fall too, so they get second, which buys them a bit of time to get this Uber back. But they're gonna have to quickly settle back into last, and Witness Game is gonna be careful that they take this fast enough that GCF doesn't get this Uber, but it's gonna be a little tight.
Yeah, good discipline from the side of Witness Gaming, kind of recognizing that even though they're down a lot of players, the rate at which GlobalClan Fire was, pushing into mid was definitely a bit off, so are able to collect those 2 kills and are back into the swing of things with an ad. They do have it, they've had it for a while now. Finally, they have their whole team buffed up, and surely, yeah, they're going through 4. Immediately onto this gun, taking it down. Are they going to go across? Yeah, not going to tease the point time, just getting on top of these soldiers, trying to get as many, damage or kills as possible, but so far, damage, reset.
Fruit on the high ground, shooting down.
Fruit's on high ground, but just gonna get cleaned up. Bomb coming in, they want this heavy. The block's coming in from Wonder. I mean, they crossed, but crossed into what? They're dropping like flies, and only Quacks and Dank are left alive. They do get this force at the last second, but overall, that last push from the side of Witness Gaming, they used their Uber for almost nothing.
I was worried because I was. Wait, the heck is called? Oh my God, he lived. He lived. That's insane. Oh, okay. So Wonder is gonna get. Dude, Wonder is. I don't know how he's got a kill through that. He hit every rocket, but Dank actually just is insane. Regardless, Wonder is gonna get a kill in the end, but not the kill he'd prefer. But going back to the last push, I was thinking in the back of my head, I was like, they took a long time to cap last the last time they had an ad push. If they take that long, they're just gonna have to deal with the Gruber, and that's kind of what happened.
Pretty much. That, as well as they had a heavy to deal with after they expended most of their ammo. Like, they tried to soften up all these players who just reset.
Yeah.
That was literally it. But
Witness doing Gaming, a nice little high bomb.
They're making some moves. They technically have like a very slim disad, although I'm pretty sure it's relatively negligible. I mean, Divine's still holding strong. They have a lot of their explosive classes that
maybe they have the head.
Fruits was kind of behind. Will finally bomb in now from the front side. Immediately deny. Quack's trying to supplement, and the force will come out of Divine in the 1 door, trying to chase forward, but Fancy's Undead unable to really get too much there. Witness Gaming, though, they're playing pretty ballsy. They are playing by the sewer area. They have been spotted there. Bomb comes in from Sack, trying to get the force. No rockets in, and the Dank is A-OK at 150 HP, and with 2 for 2 in terms of deaths right now. Witness Gaming, they're ready to just go ahead and walk through Al-Qaeda. Gotta be mindful of the traps, but
there's an engineer on last.
This is looking, pretty free for the side of Witness Gaming. And Caps, he's the one that's making space. Like, the air shot onto Wonder. Wonder's just dead. Caps
Wonder
nails him.
is dead, and that's gonna be another spamming class. Unfortunately, able to do it. And that also means that might get this gun early if they play their cards right. And although
Yeah,
they
or
looks like they
that.
did not play their cards right, and they're gonna Uber just in
Just
lobby
screw it.
before they even get through the door. So they're gonna get the gun, but that's gonna be it. The stickies on the point are really causing a problem with when we're gonna finally get the stickies down, and that's gonna be it. They do a good job edging the point, but it's gonna be a 2v2.
Fruit. Unaverted. Able to come from the upper area. Divine just left alone on the point. Got people coming back now, but not quite enough in the tank. I mean, they really got to get these.
There's a melee
screw
demo.
up.
Caps is
They're
melee. No,
melee.
they get
The
the
Uber. They get the Uber. They are unable to kill Divine in time. I thought they would just kill him, but I guess maybe Caps run out of ammo. That's almost like a dome and dead at the tail end of that. So it kind of makes sense. Uber comes off. They're able to buy themselves some time. Dank just spawns now, so it's 5%. It's not real. It's not a thing. But with Dillman being the late death, yeah, Witness Gaming and GCF both know that a fight will not happen on 2. It's just gonna full reset. I mean, maybe you could argue that Witness Gaming have been pretty daring in terms of poking early, even when they don't necessarily have a crazy advantage to work off of. But I think they are just being they're being cautious, I think, over the fact that it might be more than just like a 5% ad. It could be like a 10 or something, or a 15. So you don't want to accidentally be too close into grass in the middle of a dry push. So playing it safe, normal stuff. Just get your Uber and then just get the ball rolling. As the ball is going to be in their court. GlobalClan Fire just waiting to see until something happens.
Caps almost
Maybe Caps dying. He almost synced on him.
I was watching Caps and choke, and he was just like standing still with 112, and I was like, is he about to explode? But fortunately, Caps able to walk away with his life. Live to spam another day. And we do have a Logan sniper. I feel like we've seen so far mostly Ed sniper, a little bit of Logan, but unable to do too much. But the offensive sniper into second, pretty good. So it's gonna make put GlobalClan on the back foot, have to kind of hide behind the things and make sure they get their spam done correctly. And they're gonna walk forward, and I like this aggression, but it's gonna end up costing them as Sax is gonna fall, and they're unable to get Quacks and gets bowed. That was the kill they could have gotten. There is gonna be a little bit of an IT fight as Fruit is trying to push up an IT, but the sniper is doing a lot of work, just forcing them to play in angles they don't necessarily want to be in.
Caps is just out here alone. He finally has his team with him, but I think he knows he can't really get punished. They're down a soldier. They're finally jumping in. The Uber in. They want to go for this exchange or at least get some sort of frag, get something. But they started their Uber from so far away because of the sniper, and that was enough of a warning sign for the Witness Gaming to go ahead and rotate out through to choke, and now they're beginning to push in full 100% Uber. Nothing in the tank for the side of GCF as they are going for an IT play, going behind. Fruit is spotting it and is getting juggled around, trying to go for the pack. Is going to be able to eat it, but
I heard a
Ed
headshot.
will die in the process. Yeah, headshot rings out, unable to secure the frag, but overall, the play from the side of GlobalClan Fire in the their own IT is indeed thwarted. No kill on the Fruit, unable to escape and exist behind here. With 2 dead, they probably don't even want to use his Uber. I mean, Dank, he just got dropped down to 40 HP, and okay, now he finally uses it. You probably see some kills here. Averted off in no man's land. Where are you, my friend? Is trying to jump away to spawn. Will barely race up, but that means that the point is uncovered right now. Soldier bombing in, barely able to block it. Saxstone just trying to waddle on top of it. Averted gives up his life. The heavy's out in the field, able to take down Fruit. Trying to take down more.
Logan hit the heavy. Yes,
land.
Logan hits the heavy. Can Logan hit his shots? There's the sniper post up, and he's gonna back up, but Wonder is behind. Wonder is gonna get the kills, and it's just
pull a shade.
Fancy
Sun sees him.
Fancy Sun knows. Almost a little bit of. Well, actually, I like they're delaying his death there. That was definitely intentional. But I'm not gonna say it's different, and I actually disagree with
not getting averted there is crazy.
Not getting averted there is crazy. They left Logan to cap the point, and granted, I am a dumb by a sniper meme, but I actually think the snipers shouldn't cap there because the sniper can just lock out a spawn door by himself. But that's just me.
No, yeah, especially because they brought out a heavy post.
Yeah,
like, just keep them
Spy.
safe. But
Max is on
the
Spy.
and Sniper play
and
at the
Fancy
same
Sun
time.
spotted it immediately.
Yeah, able to thwart that, and he's still alive at least, so he's gonna bring some paranoia. But
It's
both
gonna
their
be a lot
off
harder
classes
now.
are 40 HP. They see everyone close enough. They get Fruit, they get Caps, they want more. They're trying to take down Gwen, but has the beam on her, so she's okay for now. Overall, 4 for 4, and actually these
There was a butter knife.
These respawners are in favor of Witness Gaming. They have incentive to actually take on this fight still, and maybe even block it. They're poking around. Quacks doesn't want to decloak though. They don't actually want to take the 4v4. So overall, just poking.
Spy got it. Spy decloak, and the
Spy.
perfect turn. That was very close. Quacks is gonna fall, but he did get a kill technically. He butter knifed a soldier or something, so that's gonna be nice. Witness Gaming gonna try to poke a little, but gonna back up with their espionage player dead. Just gonna settle into their mid, and this has been a really back and forth round, which does end up favoring Witness. end up favoring GCF a bit just because they already had the lead and they want to get into the infinite overtime and then get their win.
Yeah, the spam here is gnarly though. Quack's unable to be there in time to actually buy space, means they're taking things slow and steady, unable to really knock these guys off the high ground. Dank dropped to 55 HP because, you know, they're able to stay up there.
It is really hurt, they gotta be careful.
Caps takes the high ground, they're trying to jump the soldier that we got on top of him, but Logan ends up dying to a trap. They're still trying to hold on to this Uber, but GCF, they have the Uber in tow now.
NC just walks up against Quacks.
And they now... It's flipped. Now GCF are the team that has incentive.
Oh, Verdant's
to
gonna
stay
fall
on the
though.
point.
But the high ground, all the scouts on the high ground are just shooting down. They finally do have Sax here as the reinforcements, and the GCF players, they're just standing on the high ground, but it's neither team wants to give up their spot.
Witness has to win or leave. They have to win right now or leave. You cannot fight this war of attrition versus a better team's respawners unless you're that much better of a team, like disrespecting them, or you do something crazy. And,
they listen to you.
Yeah, they think they recognize it. They can't win that fight forever, so they cut their losses and back up. They got a lot of cap time, but that's not enough to be happy about per se, as it is now evened out fully. No off classes, no nothing. It seems like IT is going to be the door of choice for breaking the stalemate for GlobalClan Fire.
Yeah, breaking the stalemate is going to be a little tough. They actually only have averted in watching all the other doorways. They're going to end up trading Ed for Logan, so no real damage done as Caps is going to get aggressive and choke, and of course Fancy Sun back and averted back, so... They got a trade. They could send more if they want, but they're going to elect... I feel like we're going to see Ed Sniper. Maybe even a Logan Counter Sniper. Let's see. Is Ed on Sniper? Yes, no?
I think no with this much time left. So much time has been burned off from
that
fight.
Oh, true.
They're just two-manning soldiers. Both Wonder and Sax.
There's the double sack.
35 HP, does not want to use. Fruit and Caps are just in. It's Caps in of all people. He able to pipe averted, drop down to 6 HP.
Oh, they're going to have to force.
They do indeed force to Quacks, who bombed all the way in, so they're able to get that Uber out of the equation. No soldiers available for the side of GCF to actually force
look,
Dank.
there's a high bomb there from Caps and Caps.
Fancy Sun.
My Fancy Sun.
Sees the opportunity, as Demoman's not soldier, so that Demoman's going to be dead in the grave, unable to use it for a Demoman bomb. And I think GCF, they know that they can really try to play dangerously here. Gwen, very weak. Bomb from Sax does indeed get the fourth out of Dank, so this Uber is used, but they are going to be able to get one from it. The rest of GlobalClan Fire are pretty much out of there. And there's a lot of respawners from the side of GCF, so they're still poking around thinking that they might be okay for them to fight. Wonder's inside lobby, still have a scout holding outside through the one doors. Doman and Medic are around with them. Wonder has to be careful though, a bit weak from the side of Quacks, initiating in and getting inside lobby behind is overall 6v6 with a positional advantage. It's not in favor of GCF. They've waited too long, and it's deja vu with the first thing that happened this game. A soldier flanks all the way behind, gets in one, kills the medic. Wonder dies as well. They've traded a couple lives with this cap. I mean, it's still going in favor of the side of Witness Gaming. They've given up too much GCF. They played that. I mean, is peeking,
it's
sure,
the engineer and sniper, no scouts. They know they have to get some sort of memes and up right now to just delay everything. That's gonna be 40% to his Uber, so you have a little bit of time to set stuff up. There's gonna be a full Uber at this ad push. All they're gonna have is heals, a sentry gun, a sniper, and a dream, really.
Yeah, it's pretty big, so they have some time. If they want to spam down the gun, I mean, they could try it, but you gotta be mindful of the sniper that's on top of the gun to prevent the spamming. Sax does indeed die to fall damage. Try to jump away. Unsuccessful as Caps gets a bit juggled in this Uber. The gun will indeed finally go down, as there's not very many stickies left on the point. And there's traps right on top of the Caps, but the debt does not come through. Averted put all S1 basket on that trap and isn't even watching it. Is able to finally layer the point again. They have the heavy out on the field. They have the soldier inside heaven.
Oh, the
They're
heavy's,
just dropping like
the
flies.
heavy,
It's
he's
too little too
unkillable.
late. He's just eating arrows for breakfast. Divine doing his damnedest to keep this heavy alive, and he'll succeed. Logan, last one left alive inside one door, really going for it. Unspotted for now. Nope, the pistol comes out from Fancy Sun. He has been spotted. Trying to escape through one. Is going to be a fake. Unable to find the two-shot of his dreams as GlobalClan Fire. They clean house, able to retake two. They have this Uber ready for the next point, and the only thing they really have to be wary about is a Squindle and Sniper.
Yep, this is a...
No scout speed for Dank right now.
We'll see if if the soldier, preemptively jumps to spot the sniper, or if they're going to let Gwendolyn get the free kill here. Or if they go IT, that's also an option, but it looks like they're going to spot Gwendolyn Sniper, so that's going to mean, going to have to back up here. It still is nice to draw eyes and hide in the forwards. There are players that can defend it, and they got to be careful of that, but actually it's going to be Fruit that's going to be baited in. Gwendolyn going to back spawn, and that's going to signal the retreat. They're going to still have 70% dissent backing up in the second year, and they are down a player, so if GCF want to, they can get aggressive if they really choose to. And Caps actually does spot it early, so they know they're going IT.
Yep, IT time says the GlobalClan Fire's Quack just goes for the really ballsy commit. No, like, what, 30 damage on Divine?
He bought
So not
time,
really
I
too much
guess.
there. Bought some time, at least a trap is set up, but Det misses, doesn't kill Wonder, so it's going to be all Shiro there trying to jump away. And they bought enough time for last. Even though they're unable to really do anything on 2, at least they have their Uber for last still. They're building their gun, but GlobalClan Fire you ought to expect something now. Yeah, Sax is just in through 5. He's all the way up in their nest already. Tank to be set for the side of Ed, who's just trying to cause chaos. Get some damage onto Caps, but I don't think there's going to be enough here for them to actually secure a kill. So attempt number 1 thwarted from the side of Witness Gaming is
I think
they
that
gotta
was
get up their
intentional.
gun.
Look at the map time. There's 20 seconds left. You're on last with even Ubers. You just chill. You know.
Oh, you mean just like saying screw it, go to last?
Yeah, well, yeah, you just want you don't want to cap, even if like you hypothetically could. I don't think you want to cap last there just because you want to wait and try to get it while you can win. You know, because now it's infinite overtime. Just get your round and you win.
Now the question is for Witness Gaming is what is the threshold that would have them actually push out onto 2? Like at what point are you saying no, let's not go for the mid reset anymore? Because every team's a little bit different in their mid fight confidence. But some damage on the Sax from the side of Caps as GlobalClan Fire has entered lobby with their sniper, whose first shot rings out onto Gwen, able to win the SBS in Ed's favor. As you know, gotta peek for more. Be mindful though of this spam that's still pretty potent. They have all the explosive classes up from the side of Witness Gaming, so able to rotate to whatever door they need to. Wonder is getting the treatment right now. Double soldier into, able to collect that frag. So overall 1 down on each side, and Gwen's up pretty soon. So Witness Gaming on the move, looking for potentially some sort of counter. Actually, Caps is kind of like alone-ish. And
there he goes.
Inside the lobby, didn't really have his team with him. No buff, no nothing. Just gets headshot down.
Yeah, that was definitely an NS there onto Caps, and no demo is going to be pretty tough, which means only 2 soldiers that get this gun, but the gun is in the power position, the unkillable sentry gun in the middle of the point. Nobody knows what to do, and they have a limited opportunity here to get in before, Caps is back up and you're back to square one. They're all backing up, and they're taking their time. They do get the gun, so that is pretty good, but no sack coming in yet, and the gun might be coming up in time if they're not fast.
Quacks is on top of the trap. It's not being watched, though. Actually, is he going to go for this play? He wants to go through 1. Is he going to commit here? Oh,
yeah, there he goes. Oh, he gets spotted. Oh,
yeah,
he does get the force. That's the force.
And Ed dropped to 7 HP as well. So, I mean, Fancy Sun, I think he was worried about 2 instead of 1, so wasn't able to really block the bomb. 2 rockets got out. Divine just had to pop it. Saw the threat coming from behind him, just had to make sure that don't accidentally drop the Uber. So Uber ad available for this side of Witness Gaming, as upright T seems to be potentially their play, either that or lower, and it looks like they're committing to upper. The sniper is still on the field.
They gotta be careful.
Soldier inside IT enough to actually get the force out, and they're trying to figure out what they want to chase. Able to get both soldiers, giving up one of their own though, so they really got to make sure that they have enough here to actually get this cap off. I mean, they're getting it now. Be mindful of the sniper, but little do they know, GCF are already all the way out, getting ready for. It looks like they're anticipating an IT push.
Ed's looking at IT, which if they don't spot it early, actually I don't mind this because Ed can just like rotate and look at choke, so he's not like super committing to IT if he needs to. And Witness Gaming, they're perfectly content to take their time here. It is 50% this end, so no, I guess
pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big. They're just gonna wait, let Ed peek in. GCF does have to peek with the sniper, but the space he makes might make up for the quote-unquote lack of a combat class, just because it's process second and you can see across.
All you need is 1 good shot and then it's over, and even then your presence
just a body shot. You can scare people away.
At least for the side of Witness Gaming, even though after all is said and done, they still find themselves back on their own last. At least they have their Uber intact. It is a stalemate once again. Good. Okay, more deja vu. Caps is the first death. But maybe
Caps
we'll see
is the first death in the same exact
play.
part of the map.
This is going to be another Quacks play. Not as flashy this time, unable to get the force, but just gets the saxophone kill. But Fancy Sun, unable to get there in time to turn it into a 1-for-1. But Wonder, Dank drops, he's around the corner, jumps through 3, back turn, and will indeed get the drop there on the Dank. There was not really, was the gun wasn't shooting him. Oh, it was getting built up at spawn still. So it barely even was able to block the jump through 3. So that's how he got
Ed
so
switches
cleanly.
off of sniper, so no pushing last with the sniper. It's actually being Gwendolyn who's on the miracle sniper, hopes he can get something to happen. But tall order here for Witness Gaming. They have to have a really strong last hold. It hasn't been exactly super promising for them on last. We'll have to see what they pull out here for this potentially round-winning last push for GlobalClan if everything goes the way they want.
Yeah, they're in through 4, get blasted back a little bit, but the gun does indeed die. They're getting some Wonder cap time, and they brought over the soldiers. Wonder's able to make sure that Quacks does indeed die. Oh, so much cap time. The Brass Beast on the field. Caps does indeed
But there's
die,
a soldier
though.
upper, and I don't know if they're aware of it.
They're gonna reheal, and then the soldier goes in.
The heavy
on top
ball,
of Logan,
they actually they coordinated that so well.
One player advantage. Got the positional as well with the soldier right on top. Took a sec for Logan to even recognize where the soldier came from, and GlobalClan Fire take down Witness Gaming 4-1. Pretty dominant.
That was pretty dominant. You know, that last round was more of what I expected for the whole game, but GlobalClan Fire ran out and got those like 2 or 3 rounds really fast, which I think just helped in the long term. You know, once it finally settled down into like the stalemates and the back and forth, they had such a numbers advantage. They're able to just cruise to that victory. Like you said, pretty dominant overall.
I think it's there's a lot of good coordination from the side of GlobalClan Fire. You can definitely tell that this is a squad of players that, even though there's slight alterations season for season, there's a core there that is played for over a year, all the way back into like advanced, that are very familiar with certain things and the way that everyone wants to play and how they want to like make alterations to their gameplay. And only one correct score guesser this time around. I guess they got the script this time, and it was a misinput.
Definitely intentional. It was all part of the plan.
But 4-1, still a pretty decent game. Witness Gaming, they had some sparks of life. They had some opportunities for some great things, but not quite enough to collect more than just a round. You can look at the logs here on the screen. You see some pretty stats coming from the side of both teams, here and there. For the side of Witness, even though they don't take it away, Cap's leading the charge in the DPM department for the entire server, and Logan's second place in terms of kills, but that's kind of where the glory days end. When it comes to crazy stat lines, is across the board for the side of GlobalClan Fire, looking pretty good. Divine, half as many deaths as the side of Dank, even though that Dank is pretty much known for being a medic that plays relatively safe. Almost everyone did a pretty good job of going like at least relatively even or positive, spare Saxophone being the the sacrificial lamb for the team to get stuff done. But at the end of the day, the stats are just the stats, as it's the rounds that you collect that actually matter, and GlobalClan Fire take 3 more than they need, or not 3 more, 2 more than they need to secure this victory for themselves.
Nice little 6-1 on the sniper for our good friend KJ Quad. 2-1 on heavy as well to combine for 8-2 on the meme classes. So I think overall pretty good showing from Ed, and just GCF in general. Like you said, the coordination I think really showed. Just in the team fights, and especially just at the end there, like they had a Brass Beast heavy, they perfectly synced like all the damage humanly possible onto him to kill him. That was just enough, so I think really good job from them overall. Like I think it's GCF, this is definitely might be hopefully one of their strong power maps, and getting a win like this early definitely can help later on in the season if playoffs rolls around. Theoretically, these are both playoff teams, and they might think back and go, we didn't do so well them against on process last time.
And this actually propels them forward, is like, I'm sure after this, like after this and their other process match that we saw versus Froyotech in the very beginning of the season, even though it was a bit of a weird Froyotech, I think teams are going to be looking at like either these guys are going to be more of a top team than we thought, or maybe we should just start banning process versus them. Either or, and we'll kind of see how that progresses as we see more matches from the side of GlobalClan Fire, and of course I think it's probably safe to say that I think both these teams you can probably see them in playoffs, right? So we'll definitely see at the very end of things how that kind of progresses and how the matchups go and who is favoring what map. We saw Classic today, but I'm kind of curious on how things shake out when you see some of the lesser played maps. But that will be stories for another day, as I think we're getting close to that being it for tonight. I think we do have another game tomorrow, right? It's another Witness cast. We've been like on a Witness train for a long while. I think they're playing, they're catching up on a Darkest Nights game that should have been played
DK versus WG.
Yeah, it should have been played like 2 weeks ago, but everyone postponed a lot of stuff because of the LAN. But that's getting caught up. So, we'll get to see more Darkest Nights. I think we only seen them like once or twice this season, and they're a projected playoff team as well. So we get more potential playoff head-to-head action, get to see who is going to be leaning towards getting what seed as we reach the midpoint of the season, and it should be pretty hype for tomorrow.
It should be pretty hype indeed. Make sure you tune in. I guess one last thing before we do have merch. You can see a little side thing there. We got, not only do we have merch, we also have team merch. There's some nice t-shirts there, nice little cool logos. again, they're really cool, and I actually like that they don't reveal your power level, but we also do have team merch. So if you look, Witness Gaming doesn't have one, but GlobalClan, if you want to support them after their most recent victory on CP process, you can go ahead and get a GlobalClan t-shirt, support them. Also, we see some nice little Highlander t-shirts on there. Just a really cool thing RGL pulled out.
It's a good season for Highlander fans for sure. A lot of them opted in. It's like, sure, we want a t-shirt, let's go. Of course, you have the classics, you have the stickers, etc., etc. Those will be there for a bit, but keep in mind that a lot of this stuff is seasonal. It will eventually go away, so make sure you cop it while you can. You don't want to accidentally procrastinate and then poof, it's gone. But
indeed,
got a lot of action tomorrow. I don't think there's a cast Thursday. We'll see. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But there definitely is a game tomorrow. Spare reschedule, so it's going to be a good one. Definitely don't want to miss it. But for tonight, that is all the action we have. It was just the GlobalClan 5 versus Witness Gaming game, so we will go ahead and close things out. Any final shoutouts before we wrap things up, Space?
Yeah, just shout out everyone watching. Shout out both teams playing. Shout out the KJ Quad. Yeah.
Of course, shout out to the teams for participating and playing the match, and all the viewers watching, etc., etc. I hope we get to see you guys tomorrow, but for tonight, that'll be it for us. I've been Jarrett, casting with Space Ghost with Delphin on production. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.